What's going on, guys? It's that beer dude one back with another beer review, and we're doing our Valentine's Day special. I know it's in the midnight hour as far as when I'm going to get this video uploaded, but I didn't forget, and we're going to be doing the berry Tart Monkey from Victory. It's a barrel-aged beer, part of the barrel-aged series for Victory Brewing. They have the berry tart, the rosé monkey, and a Java cask. Now I don't know if that's like a stouted monkey or not, but one thing Victory is known for is their golden monkey. I don't know too much about the brewery or their history, but just from what I know, about them, that golden monkey kind of helped put them on the map. And I've yet to try it, but I do know it's a Belgian triple, and that's the base beer for a lot of the, like anything with monkey in it from Victory, which is what they're famous for, is that base Belgian triple. I've had the sour monkey from them, and it was the first sour I actually spent hard-earned money on. Not the first sour I had, but the first sour I actually spent money on. It didn't blow me away, but it was a great primer, I felt, to open me up to the world of sours. I look at sour monkey as more of a traditionalist sour, as opposed to these crazy like kettle sours and fruit sours you got going on in the market nowadays. And then that brings us to this. I would assume they took their Belgian triple, the golden monkey, and then put strawberries in it, because it says there's 100% real strawberries in here. And then they barrel aged it in Cabernet Sauvignon oak barrels. For all you wine aficionados out there, I don't know how to pronounce Cabernet Sauvignon. That's just how I would assume it's pronounced. So just correct me in the comments if I'm saying it wrong. But they aged it in those barrels for 6 months, and I don't have much more to say about it. I do know. It is it's an exclusive release. It is only released from August to September, so I was very lucky to find it. I smell the wine. I smell the Cabernet Sauvignon, and caveat, I've never had Cabernet Sauvignon, but I've had enough wine that I could get like a generalized idea of what it is. Have my goblet out, which it does say on the side that this drink's best in a goblet. Yeah, I know you're not supposed to pour that much wine in a wine glass, but we're not drinking wine, are we? No head. I don't know if that had to do with my passive pour or not, but there's really no head on here. Dissipated to nothing. The appearance, to me, it looks like apple juice. It really does. It gets really light and pale straw at the bottom of the glass. There's a little bit of action going on. Just, the occasional bubble rises to the top, but really nothing going on. And again, no head retention. The dissipation was fairly active there. I'm not going to say it leaves any legs on here, because I did drink a little water prior to this just to wet my whistle. What is the ABV on this thing? It's right there, 9.3% alcohol, so it's pretty stout. I don't know what the base beer is. I know the base beer is at least over 7% alcohol. It's not a light beer. but I'm not exactly sure what the base Golden Monkey exactly is ABV wise. Yeah, it's definitely sour. I get that's Cabernet Sauvignon. That wine, what I expect from a wine. Now, I'm not sure. I would assume Cabernet Sauvignon is a white wine, judging by the appearance of this beer. If it was a red wine, I would assume it would be much darker. But yeah, I get that Cabernet Sauvignon, and then the strawberries kind of quickly follow after the Cabernet, and then you're left with that tartness that you would expect from this being soured. Yeah, it's very it's a delicate yet not weak. I feel like delicate is definitely. I use that term a lot loosely, and more times than not, I mean that a delicate aroma or flavor is weak. But I definitely don't want to say this is weak. It's just a dainty, delicate smell that is still pretty pleasing to the nose. I don't know what kind of hops are in the Belgian triple, but it just. If there's any hop aroma in this, which I am a little congested, I tried to clear all that out, and I even took a couple nasal drops just to help clear things out. But from what I'm smelling, maybe there's just a kiss of like a floral hoppy presence. But I don't know if that's coming from the fruit and the wine and that sourness. Overall, it's just a pleasant nose. I think that's all I've got on the appearance and the nose. I really like the nose. Something's not right here. Um, I want to say maybe they use Brettanomyces in this. There's a touch of that funk going on in here. It almost tastes like an off flavor at first. But again, I don't know. I don't know what the base beer, what yeast they use. So they could be using a wild yeast in the base beer, or maybe they put some wild yeast in the barrels, or maybe some Brettanomyces yeast got into the barrel. I'm not sure, but I did notice it saying pleasing oaky and funky aroma. And funky is usually a word attached to wild yeast. I'm just going on common sense here. That doesn't mean I know what I'm talking about, but that kind of coincides with what I'm tasting. It's definitely a funky wild yeast thing going on in here. All right, that funky wild yeast has caught me so off guard. I'm gonna go in for one more sip, and then I'll try to break down what I'm tasting. So the first thing that hits me is like the champagne-like carbonation, very champagne-like. Um, the the overall presentation, like the mouthfeel, it feels a lot more like champagne as opposed to a wine, which is what I assumed they were probably going for here. And that's nobody's fault. That doesn't mean it's bad or wrong. It is beer. It's not wine, so it's not going to be as flat as wine, obviously. But they did control the carbonation very well, and I appreciate that. It is sweet, and it is flavorful. Man, it's just that off. It really feels like an off flavor. One more time. I'm sorry, guys. That's definitely what it is. Um, Anyways, it does have everything I smelled, but as I sip, there's just this vegetable celery cooked cabbage thing going on. And even though I said funky was placed on here, the more I think on it, the more I concentrate on what I'm tasting, it is not a funky Brettanomyces that you would taste in a wild fermented sour or a lambic. It's definitely more of like a vegetal celery thing, and it's kind of a turnoff to me. I will say, when was this bought? So this was already aged for 6 months, so keep that in mind. It was bottled on September the 21st of 2019, after being aged for 6 months, and then on top of that, it sat on a singles rack at room temp for a couple months, and then I picked it up around mid-January. So you're talking October, November, December, January, from the time of bottling, roughly 5 months. And then I figured, since it was barrel aged, I could sit it in my liquor cabinet instead of my refrigerator. Not that I would have saved any damage to the beer after 5 months in my refrigerator, but that could have helped anyways. But I allotted to, I don't want to say cellar, because it didn't sit in like 50-degree temps. It was definitely room temp in my liquor cabinet. So yeah, I'm gonna chalk this up as to being an off flavor, and I think the age on the singles rack and it's sitting in my liquor cabinet at room temp had something to do with this. I'm gonna have to give this beer a fair shake. Again, I'll probably come back to it next August or September if I find it. I really just find this vegetal thing to be a big turnoff. I don't feel like it's supposed to be in a beer that had an aroma as delicate and sweet as this. Yeah, there's just no way that's supposed to be in there. I was prepared to give this beer, just off of aroma, a 4.5. Really had expectations going in, but then that off flavor just killed the whole thing. And as you can tell, I'm having a hard time drinking any more of it. I think I've covered, I've beat the dead horse. So I really don't even want to grade the beer when I'm pretty positive this doesn't reflect what the brewmasters who even signed, well, they didn't sign this specific bottle, but they signed at least one of these labels and then printed their signature on all these bottles. So they're pretty proud of this. And so I almost hate to give this a grade. But I'm going to have to give this... I'm going to have to give it a 0.25 out of 5. It's pretty undrinkable. I don't think I can give it quite a 0 because of that amazing aroma, even for the damage that's probably been done to this beer. But I'll be straight up. After I shut this camera off, I'm going to have to pour this down the drain. And I'm really sad about that. I'm really hoping when I revisit this beer, I can get it fresh and it won't have the vegetal cabbage thing going on, and we can respect this beer the way it was meant to be respected. That's all I got, guys. Take this review with a grain of salt. I'm gonna chalk this grade up to just the damage to this specific bottle and not the brewing process or the brewmasters, because Victory's been around. Victory's a big brewery. I'm pretty sure they have the QC in place. I'm pretty sure the brewmasters know what they're doing. I'm pretty sure, you know, they handled the aging in these barrels with care. So I don't think this specific review is a reflection on Victory. So yeah, that's all I got. Berry Tart Monkey, 0.25 out of 5. Until next time, guys.